Hey guys, it's Xiaoho here, your new exhibition-loving YouTuber. Can you believe there's a national-level museum hidden in a small county in China? That's right. I'm talking about Qingzhou Museum, known as China's strongest county-level museum. Let's go and check it out. Why is Qingzhou Museum so amazing? First of all, it has a collection of over 50,000 artifacts, including over 3,000 precious ones. That's why it was named a first-class national museum, and it's the only county-level comprehensive museum to make the list. In 1984, after visiting the museum, the famous painter Huang Zhou wrote a comment, "World-class, small but mighty museum." Among the numerous treasures housed in Qingzhou Museum, 3 stand out. The Buddhist statues from the Longxing Temple site, the Han Dynasty Yi Zi Sun Jie Bi, and a Ming Dynasty exam paper of Zhao Bingzhong. In 1996, over 400 Buddhist statues were unearthed at the Qingzhou Longxing Temple site. This is the largest hoard of Buddhist statues discovered in China and was one of the top 10 archaeological discoveries of that year. These statues are known as the farthest flying Buddhist statues. They are hailed as the Oriental Venus and have rewritten the history of world art. Observe their serene faces, graceful forms, and exquisite details reflecting the pinnacle of Buddhist art. A visit here offers a truly purifying experience, a moment of tranquility amidst the bustling world. Why were so many beautiful Buddhist statues buried at the Longxing Temple site? And why did they stay hidden for so long? The excavation reveals the Buddha statues were carefully placed in 3 distinct layers. The uppermost layer bears imprints of woven mats and traces of ritual burning. An eastward sloping ramp used for transporting the statues to this location was also discovered. These findings indicate a deliberate and organized burial, likely accompanied by a ceremony. Buddhism in China experienced periods of suppression, most notably the 4 major persecutions known as the 3wu and Wanzong anti-Buddhist movements. The statues show evidence of repeated restoration. It's possible that during the Song Dynasty, either to escape persecution or the ravages of war, someone concealed these statues. This act of concealment is why they've survived to this day. It seems smiling Buddhas are indeed fortunate. Qingzhou is one of the ancient 9 provinces described in the Yugong section of the Book of Documents. The phrase 海带为青州 defines its location, which encompassed the area between Bohai Sea and Mount Tai. During the Weijing and Northern and Southern dynasties, a turbulent period of around 400 years marked by warfare and fragmentation, Qingzhou was under the control of various regimes, including the Cao Wei, Western Jin, and several nomadic dynasties. The constant warfare, combined with the patronage of Buddhism by some rulers, such as Mu Rongde of the southern Yan, attracted many eminent monks. During its golden age, Qingzhou boasted more than 200 temples, establishing itself as a significant Buddhist hub in northern China. With all those temples and plenty of local stone, it's no wonder Qingzhou was a hot spot for making Buddha statues. At Qingzhou Longxing Temple, you'll find mainly 2 kinds of Buddha statues. Ones with these cool engraved back panels from the northern and eastern Wei, and then the solo Buddha and Bodhisattva statues from the northern Qi. The first category, stele-like statues with back panels, typically feature a pointed arch shape, which symbolizes the aura or light emanating from the Buddha. The central image is a triad of a Buddha flanked by 2 Bodhisattvas. This particular example is a Maitreya statue commissioned by Han Xiaohua in 529 AD. It's striking how modern the donor's name sounds. It could easily be the name of someone we know today. But this person from so long ago left us a priceless treasure. The influence of the southern dynasties is evident in the statue style, particularly in the clothing and physique, reflecting the Han aesthetic of the time. The Buddha's sloping shoulders, delicate facial features, create a refined and elegant or thin and graceful style, often described as 袖骨倾向 and 包衣博带. The back panel of the statue is decorated with intricate flame designs, and celestial beings are depicted at each shoulder. The entire sculpture is positioned on a high, tiered lotus base. Remember this basic form, it's a classic Qingzhou Buddha build. Later on, we'll see variations that are basically just flexing their skills and stacking buffs on top of this. For instance, while the hands of this statue are lost to time, the vivid colors and the 6 flying celestial beings add a touch of magic. In another example, though the head is missing, we can still appreciate the grandeur of the 8 flying celestial beings, supporting a pavilion-like temple, the lotus throne supported by 2 dragons, each holding a lotus throne in their mouths, is a unique feature of Qingzhou Buddhist statues. During the northern Qi period, standalone statues of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas began to replace the earlier stele-backed compositions. These statues featured a simplified form, with a focus on the body's natural curves and a new style of clothing that clung tightly to the body, creating a wet drapery effect which is called 曹衣出水. This style, pioneered by the northern Qi painter Cao Zhongda, involved the use of fine lines to depict clothing that seemed to be soaked in water. This reminds me of those Parthenon sculptures in the British Museum, but if you compare them, you can see how different Eastern and Western tastes are. The Greek sculptures are all about these buff, standing tall figures, and there's a real sense of drama. But these Qingzhou Buddhas, they're more rounded with a bit of a belly, but that peaceful, enlightened look just gives you this feeling of something truly divine. Comparing these two, we see that while Qingzhou Buddhist statues, with their more human-like forms, seem closer to our own, their spiritual essence is beyond our reach. Greek sculptures are way bigger than regular people, but their expressions are pretty down to earth, like someone you'd see in everyday life. Even when they're shown partying, they've got that very human feel. This shows how different East and West see beauty, and it comes down to different ways of thinking about the world. At the very end of the hall, we find another bodhisattva with a face clearly showing Indian influence, especially that little mustache. This piece also showcases another important aspect of Qingzhou Buddhist art. The vibrant colors and gold leaf, amazingly preserved after thousands of years. The exhibition concludes with the inscription 亘古音回, creating a visual dialogue with the Buddha statues in the entrance hall. The entrance hall's inscription is 微笑千年. The exit hall is 亘古音回. Yes, these smiles of 1,000 years from Qingzhou, untouched by the flow of time, now meet us in this museum. The emotion we feel now surely echoes that of our ancestors a millennium ago. Perhaps this feeling will continue to resonate through time, connecting us with generations to come. This is the legacy our ancestors have left us. In this moment, the pride of our civilization takes on a palpable form. Another must-see national treasure is the Yizhisun jade bee. It was unearthed from an Eastern Han toma at Majiazhongzi and made of Hetian black jade. It's circular with an extended outer edge, measuring 15.4 centimeters across and weighing 375 grams. You can clearly see the 3 characters, Yizhisun, carved in the middle. Of all the jade bee in China, only 3 use the Yizhisun theme, meaning benefiting descendants. One of the other 2 is in the Yangzhou Museum. It's 9 centimeters tall and 7 centimeters across, with a phoenix carved on the outside. If you look closely, you can see the character hidden under the phoenix. Inside the bee, there are 2 dragons intertwined, and the characters Zisun are carved where they meet, symbolizing good fortune and lots of descendants. Another one was found in Guangxi province in 1990. It's 18.3 centimeters across, and on the top there are these cool intertwined dragons carved out like a handle. In the middle of it, there are 6 characters, 以子孙日益昌, meaning may descendants benefit and prosper daily. You can see that the Qingzhou Museum one is the most complete and in the best condition. Just how much do Chinese people love jade? The most famous one is the story return of the Heshi jade bee. A king of Qi even wanted to trade 15 cities for it. The Zhouli says jade is used to make 6 ritual objects for ceremonies. So jade bee were super important for rituals. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors didn't have the fancy tools we have today. Working with jade, mining it, shaping it, drilling, carving was incredibly complicated. The jade Cong came from the Yangzhou culture, about 5,000 years old. This tiny bit, just 3 by 4 centimeters, has these amazing spirit figures carved on it. Get this, within 1 millimeter, they carved 6 lines, thinner than a human hair. They weren't making these for everyday use. These were ritual objects used to connect with heaven and earth. They deeply respected nature, almost worshipped it. That's why they put so much effort, so much heart into making these. They use the most beautiful designs to pray. Every time I see something like this, it just blows me away. Last but not least, we have Zhao Bingzhuang's top scores exam from the Ming Dynasty during the Wanli reign. This thing is 3.3 meters long and 47.5 centimeters wide, and it's over 420 years old and still in amazing condition. It's mounted on 3 layers of Shuan paper with silk brocade covers. There are about 3 parts to it. The first part is the author's background and family history going back 3 generations, written in a style that looks like Song Dynasty writing. It's folded 4 times. At the top, there's a seal that says Seal of the Ministry of Rights. This part was sealed, just like how they seal up your name and stuff in exams today, like the National College Entrance Examination. This was to make sure the exams were fair. The middle part is the actual essay with 2,460 characters written in this super neat, formal style called Guange. The question was from Emperor Wanli himself. How should emperors rule and what should they be thinking? It's kind of like our civil service exams today. This 25 years old genius, Zhao Bingzhong, wrote this amazing essay, super clear and flowing, all in one go. Not one mistake. The handwriting is beautiful. The emperor loved it and wrote top of the top on it himself. This guy was a total brain, not even a single typo in the whole thing. At the end of the scroll, you can see the printed names and titles of 9 examiners, guys like Grand Secretaries, the Minister of Rights, plus one official who was in charge of printing the papers. This exam paper is really special, but the story behind it is even more interesting. In Chinese history, we've had over 600 top scholars in the imperial exams, but only a handful of their exam papers have survived. Besides this one, there are just a few from the Qing Dynasty in the Taipei Palace Museum. So, this one is super rare. Basically one of a kind anywhere in the world. The reason why the others didn't make it is because they were supposed to be kept by the government, and most of them got burned or lost during wars. Zhao Bingzhong's paper survived because it ended up with regular people, not in the government's hands. Zhao Bingzhong's dad was a pretty important official, a vice minister of rights, and Zhao Bingzhong himself later became the minister of rights. But because he was so honest and upright, he got caught up in this big political fight between this powerful guy, Wei Zhongxian, and the Dongling group. He ended up getting punished and lost his job and salary. Maybe Zhao Bingzhong was worried his exam paper would be used against him by different political groups, or maybe he was just fed up with the government. Otherwise, why would he have written such a long and impressive exam paper? Or maybe he just wanted to keep it as a keepsake, so he used his position to take it back home. The Zhao family kept this scroll like a treasure, passing it down through the family for generations, even through tough times like the Chuangguandong migration and all the wars. Then, in 1983, Wei Zhensheng, the director of the Qingzhou Museum, was doing some research in Zhongmu village. He heard from some villagers that Zhao Huanbing is the 13th generation descendant of this top scholar Zhao Bingzhong from the Ming Dynasty, and he had the original exam paper at home. It took director way over 20 visits, but Zhao Huanbing finally agreed to donate the Zhuangyuan scroll to the country. Experts from the Palace Museum checked it out and confirmed it was the real deal. After the Zhuangyuan scroll was donated to the Qingzhou Museum, it was stolen in 1991 by Lin Chuntao, a member of the museum's security department. This incident caused a national sensation, highlighting the inadequate security measures at the museum at the time. It is said Zhuo was offered for 1.55 million yuan on the black market, but Lin Chuntao failed to reach an agreement with potential buyers. This hesitation provided a window of opportunity for the public security authorities, ultimately leading to the recovery of the Zhuangyuan scroll. You can just imagine if Lin Chuntao hadn't hesitated, we might never have seen the Zhuangyuan scroll again. So it's really a lucky accident of history that this scroll even survived. We're incredibly lucky to be able to see it at the Qingzhou Museum today. And that's a wrap for this episode. We've just touched on a tiny part of the incredible Qingzhou Museum. Why not plan a trip to experience the breathtaking scenery, fascinating history, and delicious halal cuisine for yourself? Show some love by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments.